Chain Soldier. The story kicks off with a village completely wrecked, as these badass monsters go on a killing spree, taking out every human they lay eyes on. There ain't much left of the village except for this tough little girl who somehow managed to survive the chaos. And then we got this boy, looking down at the tragic scene like damn what a loss. But you know what? This messed up situation becomes the turning point that sets both of them on the path to become straight up legends. They team up and start whooping monster ass together. They exchange a look, and the dude gets down on his knees and kisses the girl's hand, triggering some crazy collar to form around his neck and unleashing a surge of power. But let me break it down for you. We start off at this sorry-ass school with our loser of a main character, Yuki. This dude's always bitching about having to clean up every damn morning. His so-called friends, who'll probably fade into the background, find it hilarious. They ain't got a care in the world cause Yuki is like the ultimate cleaning machine, like Mr. Clean on steroids. And then, all the girls stroll in late to school as they always do, and the dudes can't do jack about it cause they don't have the same powers as the ladies. See, the girls can get powers just by munching on peaches. Yuki points out how useless his life is, cause boys are born with a harder difficulty level. But our boy Yuki finds ways to prove himself useful. One of his buddies asks him to fix a button on his suit, cause that's what dudes do. Yuki whips out his manly sewing kit and fixes that shit in the blink of an eye, like a freaking sewing ninja. And his friends are all like, damn Yuki. But he's like, yeah, sewing skills ain't getting me any action with the ladies though. Yuki's older sister taught him how to sew, cause boys don't get no peach powers and are pretty much considered useless. She taught him well, but she had a mean streak. She'd choke him out if he messed up. Yuki's sidekick friend asks about his sister, but the nerdy friend tells him it's a touchy subject. It's almost time for Yuki to start thinking about his future career, but he wonders if that's all there is to life. Stuck with dead-end jobs and sewing like a dweeb, he's afraid he'll be a loser forever. But then Yuki snaps out of his self-pity and tells himself there's gotta be more out there. A place where he can make a difference without touching a damn needle. And just like that, the place gets hella foggy and a strong-ass wind pushes him back. When the fog clears, Yuki realizes he's living his worst nightmare. He's in this place called Matto. Panic sets in and he frantically looks for his phone to find the Matto instruction manual. Matto is like an alternate dimension that you can access through these door thingies that randomly popped up all over Japan. If monsters known as Shuki get into the human world or civilians accidentally wander into Matto, it's called a Matto mishap. But enough with the history lesson, what matters now is what Yuki needs to do. When someone ends up in Matto, they're supposed to stay put and wait for the Demon Defense Force to come save their asses. Scared shitless Yuki plans to follow that plan, but then a freaking terrifying Shuki appears and starts attacking him. Yuki pulls his ass and runs for his life from these monsters that look like they came straight out of the Hollow World. But he hits a dead end, with more Shuki closing in. He realizes he can't sew his way out of this mess. So he gets this genius idea to chuck a rock at the monster. But turns out it does absolutely nothing except piss off the creature. Yuki starts picturing himself getting sliced up by that thing, like a bloody mess. He knows damn well he can't sew himself back together. But he's determined not to let his life end like that. But the demon ain't listening to his concerns and is about to end him. But just in the nick of time, he gets saved by this girl riding on a Shuki. She calls him unlucky for getting attacked so fast and starts throwing down with the other monsters. She slices a bunch of the low anime budget demons in half with her sword, but she sees that the Shuki she was riding just had its arms ripped off. She knew the dumb thing would be too weak, so she continued taking care of business on her own. Her name is Kuyuka, and she is the commander of the 7th Squadron in the Demon Defense Force. She tells Yuki to chill and stay back, but he surprises her by actually being useful and pointing out that things are going to shit real quick. Kuyuka takes charge and puts a chain around one of the Shuki's neck, like she's taming a wild beast or something, and the two get out of there while being chased by these monsters. But then Himari, Nia, and Shushu show up to back up their commander. They report that there ain't no other survivors, so Nia checks the surroundings again to be sure. She spots a damn horde of those low-effort monsters coming at them full speed. Kuyuka's like, alright girls, you handle that mess while I get this boy to safety. The girls waste no time and go full beast mode. Himari transforms her hand into a freaking Gatling gun and starts blasting those demons with a barrage of bullets. Shushu ain't one to be left behind, so she unleashes her superpower and grows into a giant like Ant-Man. And Yuki can't help but be impressed. He realizes these girls are the cream of the crop when it comes to powers and peaches. Yuki had only heard rumors about the Demon Defense Force, but now he's witnessing their badassery firsthand. The girls finish off the Shookies, and they find an unconscious boy nearby. They figure their commander made it back to base already, so they decide to check the area one last time before heading home. The little boy wakes up, but instead of being grateful for them saving him, he just calls for his sister. Meanwhile, our commander Koyuka is still out there, fighting like hell. She's reminding Yuki about the golden rule: when civilians end up in a Mato mishap, they're supposed to keep their damn mouths shut. But then, shit hits the fan again. They stumble upon a girl screaming her lungs out, getting attacked by one of those monsters. Yuki realizes he saw her right before he got sucked into this messed up world. The girl manages to dodge the monster's attack by falling off a freaking cliff, but don't worry, Koyuka swoops in and saves her ass. Koyuka's ride is too damn slow, so they ditch it and she starts going all out, kicking demon ass left and right. Yuki, being the brave dude he is, and tries to protect the girl, but he ends up needing to be saved. Koyuka quickly throws up a barrier and tells them not to lose their shit, but those demons are breaking through. It's getting really ugly even for Koyuka. She starts second-guessing her lousy power and how she got stuck with it. Flashback time. We see some girls talking shit about her, saying she's strong but her power sucks. They don't think she'll ever be the supreme commander, but Koyuka ain't about to let those haters get to her. She's determined to prove them all wrong. She swears that one day, she'll rule over all the commanders. Time is running out, and she's contemplating doing something crazy. She's never tried her power on a dude before, so she's got a big decision to make. She tells Yuki she needs something from him if they want to escape, and he says he will do whatever she wants. And Koyuka drops the bomb on him: he's gonna be her damn slave. Yuki's all like, "What the hell? Are you serious?" This whole thing sounds a bit risque, but Koyuka tells the little girl to look away and close her eyes. She explains that if Yuki had some enhanced strength, they might actually stand a chance at getting out alive. Yuki can't believe she wants him to fight the demons, but Koyuka grabs him and reminds him he said he'd do whatever she wants. And then she drops the bombshell, telling him it's time to bow down to her. Yuki's mind is blown, and even though they've never touched before, he acts on instinct. He grabs her finger and for some crazy reason, his instincts tell him to lick it. And boom! Chains of energy surround him, power bursts out like a damn volcano, and Yuki transforms into a badass demon. He looks way more powerful now, and Koyuka is amazed to see that her plan actually worked. The other chicks roll up and straight up lose their minds when they see their commander turn this dude into her straight up slave. Yuki is insanely powerful, as he slices through a demon like it's nothing, and things are going way better than Koyuka ever imagined. She hops on his back and tells him to show her what he's made of. And yo, Yuki goes all out, tearing those demons to shreds like a boss. He's flying through the air, slicing through those suckers like they ain't even there. Koyuka throws in some commands for good measure, and she's blown away by how freaking fast he is. Then, she reunites the little siblings, but everyone gets shaken when those demons start pulling some reunion crap of their own. The demons all fuse together into one massive demon, so Koyuka tells the others to bounce and she will handle business with Yuki. She orders him to crush that giant beast. And yo, Yuki bursts right through the little rock it was carrying, dodging all its attacks like a pro, and chops off a chunk of its body. That thing goes boom in a major way, leaving all the girls wondering who the hell this guy is. Koyuka ends her power and turns Yuki back to normal. Koyuka tells the other girls to bounce without her cause she needs to have a super important and secret talk with her new toy. She reveals that he totally surprised her, cause she never thought an average dude like him had it in him to become such a beast. She wants to keep him as her permanent slave, but that leaves our boy speechless. But hold up, before any of that, there's a major condition to her power. She ain't kidding when she plants a smooch right on Yuki's face. She calls him a perv, which ain't cool, and explains that it's the price he's gotta pay. Since she's the boss, she's gotta reward her slave for his work. And get this, the reward's gotta match the effort he puts in every time he completes a task. Yuki's heart is pounding like crazy cause he can't believe his reward was a freaking kiss. Koyuka says he worked his ass hard out there, and shockingly offers to give him another kiss. Yuki freaks out cause she's already given him plenty to dream about, so he turns it down and accidentally smacks her in the face. Koyuka understands and explains that she wasn't expecting this situation either. When the Shooki were her slaves, they were satisfied with pork slices as a reward. Yuki on the other hand is a disgusting pervert, and she admits that her body moves on its own in these moments, no matter how she feels about it. It's the price she's gotta pay for her power, so she plants another kiss on him. When she's done, Yuki is left stunned, thinking his first kiss happened in this freaking Mato world. Koyuka gets serious cause if even one of the Shuki appeared in the real world, it would cause a ton of casualties. Her goal is to become the Supreme Commander and wipe out those vile creatures for good. The current Supreme Commander is a total loser and way too soft. With Yuki's help, she's confident she can achieve her goal, so she insists he works for her. Yuki admits he's not good at sports or academics. The only thing he's confident in is his ability to be a maid and keep a house spotless. But that's all good for Koyuka, cause she's down with a dude who knows how to clean. Plus, he showed some serious courage trying to save that girl, even if he was just being a meat shield. Koyuka thinks he ain't half bad for a guy. So Yuki finally finds some guts and declares he wants to be a hero in Mato. The real world ain't got nothing but a boring and average life waiting for him. But in this world, he can transform into a monster that looks like Issei from High School DxD. For the first time ever, he feels like he can avenge his sister's death. And most importantly, he says it'll all be worth it as long as he gets his reward from Koyuka. Soon after, they head to the Demon Defense Force dorm. Yuki walks through the barrier, ready to become a top-notch member of the force. Yuki enters with a completely new outlook on life. He is a totally different man now, and he confidently stands before the girls awaiting his introduction. The girls just wonder who the nerd is though, and Koyuka just introduces him as the caretaker. She explains that during a battle he will be her slave, but at the dorm, he is the girl's caretaker. Some of these girls have never even seen a boy before, but Koyuka explains that they're all very skilled fighters. They all have colorful personalities though, so their caretakers don't usually stick around for long. Yuki is the perfect fit though, because he is as dull as it gets, and he is great at cleaning. Yuki is furious since he thought he was going to be on the Demon Defense Force, but Koyuka explains that men are not allowed to join. She instructs the girls to make him feel at home, so they waste no time and tell him to do chores. Yuki can hardly keep up, but Nia is the only nice one among them, and tells him that everything will be okay. The others are quick to point out that the little girl has superiority over him, so he better not disobey her. Yuki's dreams of having a meaningful life have been shattered, as he goes into a deep depression, for having to obey the orders of an 11-year-old child. Things might not be so bad though, as Koyuka kindly welcomes him to the squadron. Sometime later, Yuki proudly finishes up doing his cleaning thing, but he's thinking like damn, this place in Mato doesn't look so great. Just then, the sneaky-ass Shuki tries to attack Yuki, but the barrier shuts that shit down, and Nia comes over to check if he's okay. She explains that the 7th Squadron is stationed in this unlucky-ass southwest area of Mato. That's why there are more damn Shuki showing up here than at other dorms. Mato is an alternate dimension that's as big as the city of Tokyo, and it's split into 8 different locations. Each location's got its own Demon Defense Force. Nia acts like she's his teacher or some shit, but Yuki's not sure if he can get used to a little kid being his boss. But he puts that aside for now and wonders if they should do something about that awkward-ass Shuki just hanging around. Nia explains that it's just a small fry, ain't no biggie, and they can just ignore it. Himari ain't having none of that though. She goes all Mega Man on that Shuki and lights it up with her Gatling gun. Yuki's pissed cause she almost hit them, but Himari's like, if I wanted to hit you, you'd already have a bullet between your eyes. Himari tells Yuki to get his ass to work on dinner and reminds him that he's only their cause of Koyuka. Yuki starts thinking that being a caretaker really sucks, and he gets this weird feeling like he senses someone. That night, everyone is going crazy over Yuki's mad cooking skills, even grumpy-ass Himari wants seconds. He's feeling all pumped up from all the compliments and even manages to keep a good attitude when they remind him of all his other damn duties. The dummy gets back to work, but then it finally hits him that he wanted to be a freaking hero, not just some handyman. Yuki brings up his concerns about doing chores all day, and Koyuka's like, don't worry, I'll use your ass in battle when I need to. She tells him to focus on housekeeping for now, and when he finally stands up for himself, Himari threatens to slice his damn head off. Koyuka admits that the others might feel weird having a dude as their caretaker, but Yuki's a beast at cleaning, and he's also crucial to her ability. She's like, yo, let's all try to be nice to him, but don't worry, cause if he does anything pervy, I'll rip off his manhood. That night Yuki was cleaning the tower, and he accidentally saw Himari taking a bath, but before she could see him, he hid. But Shushu, who's all tiny now, thinks she caught Yuki peeping on one of the girls, so she threatens to snitch to the commander. Shushu explains that her power lets her grow or shrink, and she snaps an incriminating pic. She's been keeping a close eye on Yuki cause she's curious about him. Yuki tries to explain that he was just cleaning, but she ain't interested in his excuses. He thinks she's trying to blackmail him for cash, but she's just looking to keep things spicy. She wants him to be her slave, but he's like, yo, I'm already a slave. Shushu makes him clean her room, and his attempt to delete the pic fails. Then she's like, do my laundry too, and that gives her another chance to take a misleading photo. Yuki's feeling down cause he's getting bullied, and then he stumbles upon Koyuka and Himari training outside. Right then, a Shuki shows up, and Koyuka schools Himari on how to handle it. She straight up obliterates that pitiful monster, leaving Yuki shocked and Himari amazed. Yuki can't believe how she insta-killed it, and he realizes he better not get on her bad side. Nia shows up and says she's gotta bounce with Himari for a meeting, so Yuki's left to fend for himself with Shushu to protect the dorm. That night, Shushu makes him give her a massage and spills that she grew up without a dad. She came to Mado looking for excitement, even if it meant putting her life at risk. Now that they're done chatting, Shushu suggests they play some video games, but Yuki warns her he's pretty damn good. Shushu feels challenged, so she's like, okay, loser takes off a piece of clothing. Yuki's hesitant at first, but he decides he's gonna win and make her apologize for treating him like trash. Turns out, he's actually trash at the game and loses every round, ending up in his underwear. He just lost another match, so Shushu's all like, take it off and show me your garden snake. Yuki's like, hell no, but Shushu forces him and strips him down, holding him down with her booty. And just like that, she annihilates any shred of pride Yuki had left by calling his little buddy a cute little worm. Right then, they gotta rush outside cause a freaking giant Shuki appears, trying to attack the barrier. Yuki thinks they should stay back, but Shushu shows off how big she can get. Yuki does his best to keep up, but these giants are about to throw down. The big-ass monster tries to battle it out with Shushu, but she snatches it up and slams it straight into the ground. Yuki's mind is blown when he sees Shushu easily overpowering that giant monster. She straight up sends it flying, then punches it down and crushes it under her feet. Shushu shrinks a bit cause being that size is hella exhausting. Just when she's celebrating her victory, another freaking massive blob of a monster comes at her. A bunch more Shuki fused with it, making it even bigger, and Shushu realizes shit could get really bad if she don't end this fight quickly. She tries to use her power to grow even more, but it ain't working for some reason. The monsters grab her, leaving her stuck, and the giant lands a punch. Yuki's feeling hopeless as he watches the giant monster take control with another devastating hit. He wishes he could transform right now, but that ain't possible without Koyuka. He's desperate for something he can do, and it hits him that he transformed when he kissed Koyuka's hand. This freaking genius gets the brilliant idea to kiss something she owns, so he hauls ass to the laundry room. Licking her glove don't do shit, but it starts the transformation, so he knows he's on the right track. Shoving his face in her shirt transforms his foot, but he needs something with a stronger reaction. Finally, he stumbles upon her boots, but he's starting to question what the hell she will say about him as a person. Outside, shit's going down really bad for Shushu, so Yuki rushes out there with Koyuka's boot. Time's running out, so he gotta act now if he really wants to be a hero, even if it means licking a damn boot. Sadly, Yuki does exactly that, and power explodes from his body. Meanwhile, Shushu realizes she pushed herself too damn far by transforming into her jumbo size. The monster ain't showing any signs of slowing down, but Shushu knows her body's gonna transform back to normal size soon. Just then, Yuki charges toward her in a partially transformed state, determined to give it his all, even if he ain't at full power. Shushu holds the thing in place, giving Yuki the perfect opening. He unleashes a badass kick, straight up obliterating its head and taking home the victory. After that, his transformation comes undone, and he starts falling. But he luckily falls right in between Shushu's massive melons. Dude panics cause he's but naked. Shushu grins and puts him down, mentioning he was being too damn reckless of him to force a transformation. Yuki explains he only did it cause Shushu called him weak and he wanted to prove her wrong. Shushu then notices Yuki's little worm transformed into a freaking anaconda, and Yuki's hella embarrassed. He tries to explain that it happens every time he transforms, and Shushu thinks it's kinda damn impressive. Later, Koyuka starts fixing up Yuki's body cause there's some serious pain from forcing that transformation. The others clown him for being out of commission after just a couple of minutes, but he points out that he's still learning how to use his power. He wonders if they should fix the barrier, but Koyuka spills that barriers protecting important spots got their own special abilities. As long as the damage ain't too bad, it'll fix itself. Yuki finally gets why the barrier repaired itself when the Shuki attacked earlier. Koyuka gets back to working on our boy, but it's hella painful. He wonders if this is his reward for protecting the dorm. Koyuka scolds Shushu for underestimating their opponent, and tells her to help Yuki with his chores as punishment. But when they leave, Shushu reveals she's got even more incriminating photos, so she gonna keep being his master. Yuki realizes how screwed he is and wonders if he'll ever be free. But we see Shushu say she ain't ever gonna leave him to anyone after what she felt for him. In another place, a barrier gets wrecked. Another demon crew shows up to find out what happened, and one of them tells the others to inform their commander. The remaining girl gets ready to throw down with the thing, but she realizes her opponent ain't no ordinary Shuki. The Lady Beast grabs the two running away and reveals herself. And then the Mega Shuki knocks the first girl back and gets ready to eat her, but the mysterious lady steps in and tells it to stop. This mysterious lady straight up disciplines the Shuki, and says she can sense Yuki's presence somewhere in Mato. It's time to pay him a visit. Later on, Koyuka takes Yuki through a gateway and tells him to chill for a bit cause she's got some important paperwork to handle. Yuki can't believe how freaking crazy interdimensional travel is. It only took a 50-minute drive on the other side to get here. Eventually, Koyuka comes back and tells her boy to enjoy the fresh air while he can, because time off ain't something that happens often. Yuki wonders where they're headed, but Koyuka ain't giving him no serious answer. Back in Mato, Shushu looks for Yuki and hears that the commander took him through the Yamagata passage. At first, she's a bit surprised, but then she remembers that today's a messed up day. As for Yuki, Koyuka takes him to a freaking cemetery. She starts explaining that a while back, there was this incident where a bunch of Shuki came into this world, and one of them was hella powerful. Koyuka remembers the day like it was yesterday and describes that powerful behemoth as having a single horn. This thing really stood out to her when she was a kid cause it straight up massacred her hometown. That's why she called it the Unihorn. The Demon Defense Force came and wiped out all the Shuki that crossed over, but Koyuka dug through the records and found out that the Unihorn managed to escape. It was the only one to do so, and it used the gateway to get back to Mato. That damn Unihorn is still alive, and Koyuka is mad as hell. She's got a personal score to settle with that powerful demon, and swears she's gonna erase it from existence. Koyuka wants Yuki to be ready when that day comes, and that's why she brought him to the cemetery. She wants him to see all the people she's gonna avenge. Afterward, it's time to head back to Mato, but Yuki wants to take a little break. He looked up some reviews and found out that this nearby cafe is famous for its bomb-ass parfaits. Koyuka tries to say that going back to Mato is more important, but she can't resist when Yuki shows her a picture of a mouth-watering parfait. Koyuka is actually surprised by his assertiveness, but she's still mostly focused on Mato. Then, Yuki drops a bombshell. He tells Koyuka that he lost his sister in some messed up incident in Mato, so he gets what she's feeling. Yuki's a smart kid cause he points out that if she burns herself out, she's gonna miss her chance for revenge. Koyuka realizes that this kid ain't just assertive, he's also got some serious persuasion skills. Koyuka thinks the parfait tastes hella amazing, and her smile brings Yuki some memories of his sister. They were always tight and she'd always push him to learn stuff like cooking and cleaning. Right then, Koyuka gets an emergency call from Mato. It ain't life-threatening, but something serious is going down for sure. Break time is cut short, and Koyuka has Yuki transform into his demon form. His demon powers get them back real quick, and now Koyuka gotta reward him cause that's just how her power works. She goes to change into her uniform and asks Yuki to come with her. They head to her room, and Koyuka asks Yuki to take off her stockings. Yuki wonders if this is his reward for using his powers, and Koyuka gets mad and tells him she wouldn't indulge his dirty desires if she didn't have to. Yuki then wonders if he really has such a pervy fetish in his subconscious. When he takes off Koyuka's stockings, she gives him the filthiest look ever and calls him a pervy dude. Later on at the meeting, Koyuka is told about a discovery during patrols. There's this crater-like formation appeared nearby, and a ton of Shuki showed up. Yuki takes a look at the iPad and straight up loses it when he sees hundreds of Shuki on the radar. Koyuka is even tripping cause she's never seen anything like this before. Nia uses her powers and reveals that the Shuki ain't bouncing, they're building some kind of nest. Taking out all these Shuki is gonna be a massive mission for their team, and Yuki is hella pumped. Koyuka announces that they're rolling out with 3 vehicles, and Yuki is shocked to find out he's considered one of them. Yuki takes off ahead of the others, and they just call him a wild beast. Yuki and Koyuka pull up at the crater, and he starts thinking about how messed up it would be if someone got stuck there with all the Shuki. He's ready to start taking them out, but Koyuka tells him to wait for her signal. The rest of the squad starts attacking first, and Koyuka explains that it'll be easier if the Shukis merged, instead of taking them down one by one. The Shuki are tough, but their fighting style is basic. As long as they stick to their plan, there's no way they can lose. Koyuka tells Yuki to be ready cause they'll launch their attack once a giant Shuki reaches its peak size. Out of nowhere, a powerful beam hits Shushu. They look to see where it came from, and it's a single-horned beast. Koyuka instantly recognizes it as the one that straight up massacred all the people, and it starts attacking them. It destroys their truck like it's nothing, and the chick riding it announces that she's joining the damn party. Himari is shook that the chick can talk cause she thought she was some kind of monster, but that just pisses the chick off. She unleashes a freaking massive attack, but Himari barely blocks it by transforming her arm into a shield. The attack is too damn strong though, and Himari's shield gets wrecked, leaving her vulnerable to the devastating beam. Yuki and Koyuka jump in for a counterattack, and they manage to push back the Unihorn. The chick is impressed by their power, and Koyuka is hella pissed to be face to face with the Unihorn again. The chick finds it funny that they got a nickname for the demon, and Yuki is straight up stunned by how terrifying the beast looks, the same one that wrecked Koyuka's hometown. Their whole team is in bad shape, and Koyuka demands to know who the chick is. The chick reveals that she's the archenemy of the Demon Defense Force, and Koyuka is shocked when she pulls out a Mato Peach. The chick asks if Koyuka has seen her little bro anywhere, but Koyuka doesn't say shit. The chick uses the peach as a distraction to sneak attack, but Yuki barely stops it. The two of them try some combo move, but it does jack shit to the chick. She explains that her little bro used to follow her around when they were younger, but as he got older, he turned into a little troublemaker. Now that she's got the upper hand in the fight, she says that her bro getting older just means she can teach him some manners. Yuki can't tell if the chick's a Shuki or not, but he knows one thing for sure: she's unlike any opponent he's ever faced. The chick's about to say her bro's name when they get interrupted by all the Shuki combining into one massive giant. The chick is beyond pissed about the interruption, but it reminds Yuki of his sister. The chick is furious about being interrupted while talking about her bro, and she straight up crushes the giant beast. She feeds the remains to the Unihorn, and Koyuka finally realizes that she must be the top boss of the Shuki. The chick's disappointed cause they clearly don't know shit about Mato, and she easily dodges our hero's attack. She explains that this world is straight up cursed, and she launches an attack that separates Koyuka from Yuki. The chick is impressed that Koyuka's got such a powerful Shuki and grabs hold of him. Yuki's scared as hell, thinking she's gonna crush him like she did to that giant beast, but the chick is shook. She realizes he ain't a Shuki at all. She reaches for him, but Koyuka jumps back into the fight and pushes her back. Koyuka manages to do some damage and goes in for another attack, but the Unihorn stops her. They make their getaway, but Koyuka straight up calls them cowards and demands they come back. Koyuka is raging hard, cause if they wanna run from her, she'll do exactly what the Unihorn did to them villagers, tear them apart from behind. She vows to wreck them. But when she looks for Yuki, she sees he's busy helping their team. Koyuka swallows her pride and tells Yuki that Himari and Shushu's safety is their top priority, so they gotta fall back for now. Koyuka regrets letting her rage take over cause it almost cost her her squad mates. When they get back to the dorm, Koyuka explains that their team's wounds ain't too bad and they'll be fully healed by tomorrow. The weirdo's reward this time is getting stepped on all over his body, and Yuki himself is terrified by his inner demon's demands. While Koyuka does her thing, Yuki apologizes for letting the Unihorn escape, but Koyuka ain't blaming him. Getting their team out safely was more important. She figures the chick must be some new breed of Shuki. She can't believe one of them can understand human language now, and she's pretty damn sure this news will shake up the world. Then Yuki drops a bomb and says the chick looks a lot like his sister. She had a weird reaction when she saw his face too. Koyuka doubts it cause no human could be that strong. Plus, ain't nobody ever heard of a human turning into a Shuki. While cooking, Yuki's still wondering if that was really his sis. The problem is he can't wrap his head around how she survived or why she's fighting against the Demon Defense Force. He's clueless about what to do if he comes across her again, but he needs to snap back to reality and finish up his cooking. Nia makes him kneel down and handle some business as his superior, and she straight up punches him in the face for putting everyone in danger. With that out of the way, she gets that he fought hard to protect everyone and tells him she'll handle dinner so he can rest up. But he still helps her cook and decides he'll figure out what to do about the demon chick later cause he's got work to do right now. Meanwhile, we find out the chick's name is Aoba. She gets made fun of for coming back all beat up, but their healer Coco fixes her right up. Aoba's dead certain that the monster she fought was her bro Yuki, but she can't figure out how the hell he ended up looking like a Shuki. She thought they didn't let dudes into the Demon Defense Force, but regardless of that, she enjoyed their little reunion. Then the scene switches to Yuki taking a bath, and he's thinking about his fight with the one-horned Shuki. Shushu joins him in the bath and thanks him for saving her. She says she'll wash his back as a thank you and tells him not to turn around cause she's butt-ass naked. Shushu starts washing his back, and Yuki thinks she's just messing with him, saying she must be wearing a swimsuit. He thinks she's trying to tease him, but he decides to call her bluff and turns around. That's when he realizes Shushu's actually butt naked, and he freaks out and bolts out of the bath. Shushu says seeing Yuki see her naked got her heart racing. In the changing area, Yuki spots Himari getting ready to hit the bath, and she gets pissed at him, chasing him with her hand turned into a freaking chainsaw, threatening to cut him up. Yuki tries explaining that he put up a sign saying the bath was occupied, but Himari tells him he should have made it way clearer that a dude was in there, and she tries to attack Yuki, but all of a sudden, a damn portal opens up, and two girls show up. One is the commander of the 6th squad named Tenka, and the other's her second-in-command named Yachiho. Tenka gets all close and personal with Yuki, talking about him being the slave she's heard so much about, and she asks him to go fetch Koyuka. He goes off to do that, leaving Himari looking mad as hell at Yachiho. When everyone links up, Tenka gives props to Koyuka for having a slave who knows how to whip up a killer cup of joe. The Supreme Commander dropped a message about those nasty-ass humanoid Shuki, so Tenka swung by to discuss it. Usually, each squadron does their own thing, but from now on, the Demon Defense Force gotta be more tight-knit. Yachiho's a straight-up jerk, ragging on Himari cause she passed out during the battle against the humanoid Shuki. She calls her a coward and says she's tarnishing their family's reputation. Yachiho tells her to give up on her dreams and just come home with her. But for real, Tenka points out that the humanoid Shuki is actually hella strong. Koyuka agrees and gets why they gotta join forces. Yachiho acts all confident about teaming up with Koyuka, but she ain't trust Koyuka's crew one bit. She throws shade without dropping names, saying there's someone in Koyuka's squad who's gonna slow them down for sure. Koyuka gets an idea and says it's important for them to know each other's strengths. She suggests they have a squad versus squad exhibition match to figure it out. Everyone's shocked, and Yuki's dumbass immediately thinks it's some sports game. Luckily, Nia corrects him and says it's a battle of strength and skills between squadrons. Koyuka wants it to be one-on-one combat, and Tenka's down with it. But first, Tenka's gotta make preparations, so they bounce. Right then, Himari asks Koyuka to help her get ready for the match. Koyuka warns her it won't be easy, but Himari declares she'll do whatever it takes as long as it means she'll win. Koyuka agrees and tells her to start training right away. Then, Himari turns to Yuki and drops a bombshell. Their agreement means Yuki's her damn slave now. Yuki's like, what the hell are you talking about? Then the scene switches to everyone grubbing on some bomb ramen at lunch. They all love the ramen, and Himari calls him a kick-ass slave, and he wonders how the hell that happened. The answer's simple, it's all for the sake of the exhibition match. And Himari declares that she's gotta come out on top. Koyuka knew Yachiho's attitude got under her skin, so this match is the perfect chance for Himari to teach her a lesson. As they roll for their training, Yuki still can't wrap his head around how he ended up as Himari's slave. Himari spills the beans that turning her body parts into weapons ain't her main gig. She only does it cause it jives with her style. She breaks it down that her real power is learning. She can use other people's abilities and rock them herself. Yuki's like, damn, that sounds mad strong. Himari mentions that all she gotta do is pick an ability on her phone and put it into action. She's got the commander's ability selected right now, so she's rocking Koyuka's power. Yuki asks her if she knows the deal with Koyuka's ability. Himari's like, yeah, I know it's physically demanding. And this dumb chick don't mind taking over your share of chores if it means kicking Yachiho's ass. Out of nowhere, they get surrounded by Shukis. Yuki plants a smooch on Himari's hand to transform. Turns out his transformation is a bit different from when he's with Koyuka. Yuki jumps into the fray, taking on the Shukis. He notices he's faster in this new form, but it comes at the cost of his physical strength. He goes all out against the Shukis and manages to take them down, but it takes multiple hits to beat a single Shuki. Himari thinks this is the key to victory and Yuki switches back. He asks Himari why she keeps using Koyuka's ability when she could use any other. Himari's like, Yuki, you should be grateful I'm putting you to work. Then she flashes her panties at Yuki, and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" Himari realizes she can't stop, and Yuki tells her it's the price of Koyuka's ability. He explains she can't quit until he's fully rewarded, and she asks Yuki to look away. Yuki listens, but even after waiting a hot minute, the reward ain't stopping. Yuki tells her it won't end until he's fully rewarded. Himari takes a seat on his lucky face with her undies to speed things up, asking if it's enough of a reward for him. But poor Yuki's suffocating cause he can't breathe, and when he tries to move his lips, Himari gets all ticklish and thinks it's too damn indecent. After Yuki gets his reward, he tells Himari she should use a different ability. Himari explains that she would if she could, but her learning power has a compatibility factor. It messes up most abilities, making them useless. For example, if she tried using Shushu's growing abilities, it'd only make her boobs grow like 3 centimeters. Yuki reminds her about the price of using Koyuka's abilities, but Himari just accepts it. Yuki wants to know why she's so desperate to beat her sister, so she breaks it down with a history lesson. She comes from a high-profile family with all her older sisters achieving great things in Nado. Himari had high expectations on her, but she would always push herself too hard before important events and end up injured or sick. She never had any results to show, and Yuki can relate. Her weak power was also well known, so she'd always get teased for not keeping up with her sisters. This is her chance to prove everyone wrong since she cut ties with her family. Himari demands Yuki's cooperation, and he thinks about how hard it is to help someone who can't even ask nicely. Himari reveals her ultimate goal is to become a hero like their commander. She believes beating Yachiho will bring out a new version of herself. Himari wants to show a different side, and Yuki can relate to that too. Himari mentions that they're missing one thing for the fight, a badass finishing move to wreck their enemies. Yuki starts using his brain and realizes he's been mindlessly punching and kicking like a maniac. He's got his own reasons for wanting to get stronger and wonders if Himari is the key to opening a new path. Yuki's convinced and agrees to help her. Himari reminds him he's her slave and explains her sister's power, called Golden Hour. Yachiho can control time, freeze it, and rewind it. After hearing that, the once confident and optimistic Yuki realizes they're screwed. At the other squad's dorm, Yachiho admits that her sis is throwing shade at her. She swears she'll put Himari in her place at the Mado exhibition and can't wait for that day to come. During practice, Himari spills that Yachiho's power is hella dangerous but drains her energy. If she uses it too much, she'll get tired, and that's their opening to win. Yuki points out that the fact Yachiho can use her ability multiple times is a major problem, but Himari's got more to say. She explains how Yachiho does this weird pose to activate her power, like it's some kind of ritual that boosts her skills. That's when Yuki suggests they use his crazy speed for their finishing move. Himari's down and plans to pull off an ultra-fast maneuver that won't give Yachiho a chance to freeze or rewind time. It's gotta pack enough punch to knock Yachiho out of the fight completely. Yuki tries a quick step forward into a head punch, but they gotta polish it into a deadly blow that can't be dodged. Himari has Yuki focus all his strength into one part of his body, so he goes all in on his legs, and they blow up in size. Just then, some Shukis show up, perfect timing for practice dummies. Yuki's massive legs make him even faster, but his first attempt at the special move falls flat. After whooping all the Shukis again, Yuki realizes he went overboard cause his legs are toast. He sacrificed all his arm strength cause he poured all his energy into his legs. Himari figures he just needs to keep experimenting with it until he perfects the technique, and this time she rewards him with a little pat on the head. Koyuka shows up at their next training sesh, and she's amazed at how Yuki looks different for real. She gives props to Himari for coming up with a sick finishing move but wonders why she's watching from a distance. Koyuka reminds her that there's a fundamental essence to using her ability and tells her to make her proud before leaving. Her words get Himari thinking, so she hops on Yuki and explains that she'll be riding him during the exhibition match. Himari realizes Koyuka's ability requires her to control her slave, not just stand back and coach him. Himari grabs hold of his chains and tells Yuki to channel all his strength into his legs. Yuki does as she says and feels an unexpected surge of power coursing through him. Himari commands him to crush the first Shuki they come across, and with a powerful attack, he destroys it effortlessly. Yuki can't believe what just happened, and they realize they've stumbled upon a foolproof finishing move they've been aiming for. Yuki isn't sure if he can replicate it, but luckily, more practice dummies show up to help them out. After defeating them all, Yuki is worn out like never before. Himari starts unbuttoning her shirt and mentions that sometimes his technique lacks precision. She tells him they need to practice more to nail down that consistency. She takes off all her clothes, tossing them on the ground, and Yuki is like, "Hey, no need to throw your clothes like that." But Himari's got her melons in her hands, squeezing them very hard, and she's like, "I know this shit is mad indecent, And all that wild stuff just wipes away all the exhaustion Yuki was feeling, and he swears to master this new technique so he can use it again in the future. A dope training montage kicks off, showing Yuki getting stronger and stronger. On the day of the exhibition match, Tenka and the crew show up ready to showcase their greatness. That night, we see Himari taking a bath with Shushu before the match begins. Shushu asks her how she's feeling, and Himari spills that she's gonna unleash an ability Yachiho has never seen to kick her ass. Shushu wonders if Himari and Yuki will go their separate ways after this match. Himari confirms it because Yuki belongs to the commander. Then this chick named Sahara from the 6th Squadron rolls up to the bath, saying she's there to chill. She straight up falls asleep in the bath, and Himari and Yuki are hella surprised. After the bath, Himari bumps into Yachiho, who mentions that Himari has something planned but tries to sow doubt in her mind, doubting her sister's ability to pull it off. Himari gets a bit flustered, but Yuki shows up to inform them that the match is about to start. Yuki can sense that Himari is bothered, so he tells her not to worry and reminds her of all the intense training they've gone through. Himari's confidence is restored, and she guarantees that they're gonna come out on top. When everyone's ready, they all scribble their names down so this girl named Gina can do her thing. She's got this ability that lets her create a barrier by drawing a line on the ground, like a boundary. Only the ones who sign their names can step inside, and any injuries they get during the fight will be healed. Gina's gonna be the referee, and she's just stoked to see the Demon Defense Force in action. Not everyone believes that Peach's grant power is based on a person's nature and knowledge, but she does. That's why she's pumped to see everyone's powers. Gina's barrier can handle the power of 1,000 Chuki, and they're counting on her to judge the fight. Yuki can totally tell that Gina is a die-hard Demon Defense Force fan, but also that she's got a thing against dudes. Nia ain't a fighter, so her job is to cheer on her teammates. The first round is gonna be between Himari and Yachiho. The rules are simple: whoever gives up or gets knocked out first loses. Injuries will be healed, so they're encouraged to go all out. Yachiho plans to drag Himari back home once she beats her, but Himari's like, "I ain't the same person I used to be." She declares that she's gonna win and has Yuki transform and say that Yuki gonna assist her as part of her ability. Yachiho ain't gonna deny a dog handler the chance to use her pooch in battle, so she lets Yuki join the fight. Both sides are ready, and the match begins. Yachiho starts giving her sister a warning, but before she can even finish her sentence, she's gasping for air from Yuki's lightning-fast attack. She has no clue where it came from, but she gathers herself and rewinds time by 5 seconds. Time goes back to the start of the match, but Himari can tell that Yachiho's getting tired. Luckily, they planned ahead in case they couldn't finish her off with one blow. Yachiho's getting ready to find out if their first attack was just luck, and she's thinking about how Himari hasn't realized that her time manipulation ability has gotten stronger. Yachiho points out that little sisters can never beat big sisters and uses her ability called Prime Time. Himari ain't giving her sister a damn second, and she has Yuki unleash a crazy-ass fast attack. Yachiho manages to use Golden Hour to rewind time back 5 seconds right before the attack, and just as they get within Yachiho's attack range, she freezes time for 5 seconds. But damn, she realizes they slipped out of her range, and Yachiho starts catching on that they're switching tactics on purpose. Himari's smiling cause they made her sister waste her ability, so she tells Yuki to stick to the plan. The crowd goes wild seeing Yuki moving faster than a freaking bullet, and it's clear that Himari's trying to mess with Yachiho's head by running circles around her. Yuki can feel in his bones how much Himari wants to win, and he reminds himself he's gotta help her beat Yachiho. He kicks up the speed, and their little cheering squad encourages them. Yachiho pulls out a gun specially modified for Mado, but our boy Yuki's way too damn fast in this form. Yachiho's getting more and more pissed, but Yuki's happy they're throwing her off balance just like planned. Tenka watches and finds it funny that this fight's actually turning into something good. Everyone thought Yuki's loyalty was only for Koyuka, but now it's clear he can devote himself to a new master. As they keep going at it, Himari's amazed to see how hard Yuki's fighting for her. He's putting in way more effort than she expected, so she decides she gotta apologize for giving him such a hard time before. But first, they gotta win this fight. Himari reminds herself that Yachiho can instantly use Golden Hour, but she's gotta strike that weird pose first. The moment they see her starting the pose, they gotta decide whether to attack or retreat. And based on her behavior, they can tell if she's already used her ability. If she suddenly looks tired, that means she rewound time. If not, then they gotta avoid her. As they dodge bullets, Himari realizes Yachiho can only use her ability a few more times at best cause it drains the hell out of her energy. If they can just make her waste it, they'll definitely win. Yachiho already knows exactly what Himari's thinking and figures out her strategy. So she decides it's finally time to whip out her trump card. Himari thinks it's another golden hour and that they're outside its range. But damn, she's dead wrong cause Yachiho uses prime time to freeze time for a whole 10 seconds. This freezes a way bigger area and catches everyone, with no way for Himari to escape. Evil-ass Yachiho swears she gonna defeat her sister and make her life a freaking nightmare. She shoots a bunch of bullets at her sister right before the 10 seconds are up. Once time starts moving again, the bullets hit our heroes. Nobody even saw what went down cause they all thought Himari was winning the fight, but now she's down for the count. Yachiho then explains her primetime ability. By striking the ultimate pose, she can double the time she can control. The only downside is it takes a few more seconds to activate Golden Hour. Yachiho knew her sister was getting the hang of her other pose, so she had no other choice. Everybody watching is stunned cause they had no idea Yachiho could freeze time for a whole damn 10 seconds. Himari can't believe her sister was hiding this ability, but Yachiho says a genius like her only gets more brilliant with time. Himari didn't factor that in, and it's her downfall. Our announcer points out that Himari had the upper hand thanks to Yuki's speed, but Yachiho messed all that up with her trump card. Unleashing her prime time ability completely turned the tables. Nia's worried for her friend, but Shushu knows the fight ain't over yet. They cheer their friend on and tell Himari to show everyone what their squad's made of. But things ain't looking too good, and Yachiho knows Himari's learning ability too damn well. Yachiho explains that when Himari's learning power adapts an ability with a cost, she can't switch skills until she pays the price. That's why Himari can't just change abilities in the middle of the fight. Yachiho really loves kicking her opponents while they're down as she reminds Himari of the past. She tells her sister that she never lived up to expectations when it mattered. And this time ain't no different cause Himari's got no way to counter Yachiho's primetime ability. She demands that Himari give up, and Himari starts wondering if things will just go the same way as always. Himari wonders if all her efforts were in vain, but Yuki points out that Yachiho's just trying to mess with their heads. He tells Himari to look at Yachiho's face, she looks hella exhausted. Yuki can tell she ain't gonna be able to use her ability again. He straight up says he'd be ashamed if his master gave up when they so close to victory. Himari fires back, telling him he looks tired as hell too, and he has a real smart mouth for a slave. Himari got her confidence back and promises to put Yuki in his place once this is all over. Her friends cheer her on cause they back in the game, and it's clear the fight's reaching its climax. Yachiho gets ready with her weapon and tells Himari to stop with her shameful behavior. But Himari ain't falling for her mind games no more, cause she's seeing things clear now. She points out that in their squad, staying strong and fighting till the end ain't no shameful behavior. Yachiho thought breaking Himari's spirit now would make training her easier later, but things didn't go as planned. Yuki and Himari bust out a move they practiced, so Yachiho strikes her golden hour pose. Yuki's body glows like crazy, but Yachiho's shocked cause she already did her pose. She stops time for 5 seconds anyway, ready to end the fight. But she's even more shocked cause she sees Yuki standing there in his human form. Himari ain't nowhere to be seen, but time running out on Yachiho's ability, so she shoots a bunch of bullets at him. Everyone's jaws drop when Yachiho takes damage, and they see Himari on the ground. Yachiho didn't expect Himari to be so damn desperate to win that she'd sacrifice everything, and then she collapses. Everyone's speechless, but Himari strikes a victory pose. She declares herself the winner, and everyone starts celebrating. Koyuka explains that Himari used the flash and smoke from Yuki's transformation to blind Yachiho. She impressed as hell by her second in command and gives her props for her strategy. The cheers die down when they see Yuki in bad shape, but Koyuka says there's no need to worry. Yuki wakes up after getting shot, and they tell him these kinda injuries would usually be life-threatening, but since they happened inside Gina's barrier, he'll heal up good as new. Yuki recovers almost instantly, and he amazed by Gina's power. Himari pushes him away now that he's okay, but he reminds her he just woke up. They both smile though, cause they realize they really pulled off that tough-ass victory. Himari knows he put in mad work, and she helps her boy up. Yachiho wakes up too and thinks about how Himari used to be. She remembers when her sis caught a nasty cold right before entrance exams cause she was studying too hard. Yachiho used to think Himari was an overachiever and naive, but now she knows she was dead wrong. Yachiho confronts Himari, and poor Yuki ain't got a clue what to do. But then Yachiho shocks everyone by admitting Himari got stronger and promises to treat her better. She wants Himari to come back home, but Himari straight up declines. She says the 7th Squadron is her family now. Ain't nothing Yachiho can say to change her mind, so she crushed. After the intense battle, the fighters finally catch their breath and head to the fridge to quench their thirst from all that running. But when Yuki goes to take a bottle, Himari decides to give him a special reward and offers him a drink straight from her mouth. And Yuki is parched as hell, so he goes all in and drinks a whole lot. Meanwhile, Yachiho talks it out with Tenka. Tenka explains that this was Yuki's first fight against a human, so he probably held back his attacks subconsciously. If that's the case, Yuki's first hit would have straight up killed Yachiho. Tenka reminds Yachiho never to underestimate her opponents, cause she didn't finish them off after using prime time. Tenka's final comment is about Yuki. She amazed at how he kept pushing himself over and over, only to sacrifice himself in the end. Outside, we find out it's Shushu's turn to fight next, but Himari and Yuki ain't back yet. Shushu hella eager to impress Yuki with her skills, so she goes to find them. Inside the dorm, Himari tells Yuki he the main reason she beat her sister, and gives him another kiss. Himari apologizes for being mean to him and admits that maybe boys ain't so bad. She reminds him the kisses are just the price of using her ability, so he better not get any wrong ideas. But even as she says that, she kisses him even harder than before. And outside, Shushu stuck outside listening to their whole conversation with her fluids dropping, and she finally figures out what Himari meant by saying her ability is physically demanding. Meanwhile, Yachiho apologizes for losing her match. Now it's up to Sahara to bring home the win, but Sahara ain't sweating it. She confident she gonna win. But then, we see some shady-looking uninvited guests lurking nearby, bringing danger into the party. Round 2 is about to go down. It's Shushu versus Sahara, and both of them specialize in hand-to-hand combat. Shushu remembers what she saw and thinks it ain't fair. She wants in on the action too. She wants to impress Yuki with her skills and hopes he'll give her props afterward. Because of losing, Yachiho gotta be a cheerleader, and Sahara promises to make her friends proud. The two fighters decide to hold off on using their special powers, so they start throwing punches for real. Shushu slams Sahara to the ground right off the bat, but Sahara comes back with a suplex of her own. Shushu's just getting started, but Sahara's already tired and says it's time to bring out the ability power. Sahara's friends wonder how many powers she's gonna use, and they predict she'll use 3. Koyuka thinks about how both of their powers focus on physical attacks, and Tenka predicts Sahara's gonna end the fight real quick. Shushu transforms into a freaking giant, and Sahara unleashes her ability called Crazy Sheep. She says the word 3 before dodging an attack, then declares that paper beats rock as she smacks Shushu right in her massive face. Sahara's Crazy Sheep power lets her boost her strength for a specific amount of time that she sets in advance. She can go as short as 1 minute or as long as 60 minutes. The shorter the time, the stronger she gets, but she's gotta wait 3 minutes before she can use it again. Crazy Blondie lands some hits and points out that Shushu's big size makes her an easy target. Then Sahara lands a devastating blow, and Shushu worries about letting Yuki down. Sahara wants Shushu to give up, but she explains she's just getting warmed up. Sahara admires her attitude, and Shushu can't even explain why she's so damn determined. Flashback time shows that Shushu never cared about romancing dudes. She always wanted something more exciting and decided joining the Demon Defense Force in Mado would keep her from getting bored. Her friends told her she'd understand the value of a relationship someday, and now she wants Yuki to watch as she kicks Sahara's ass. Sahara suggests Shushu shrink down for better mobility, but that sounds like a snooze to thrill-seeking Shushu. Shushu likes going big or going home, so she does the opposite of Sahara's suggestion and grows even bigger. Damn, nobody saw this coming. Shushu straight up slams her massive body onto Sahara. But hold up, Sahara ain't one to be underestimated cause she's holding her ground. Shushu grabs her and points out that she was just too damn big to dodge this time. She mercilessly smashes Sahara into the ground, and her team goes wild celebrating her victory. Gina starts the countdown, but everyone's shocked to see that Sahara ain't just still in the fight, she's also powering up. Yachiho explains that if Sahara loses consciousness while her power's still going, her killer instincts take over. She'll attack anyone in sight, enemies or allies, but that's where her crazy strength comes from. She can sleep anywhere anytime, that's her secret power. Unconscious Sahara straight up destroys Shushu, and now the countdown begins for her. Unfortunately, Shushu can't recover from that devastating attack, and Sahara's announced as the winner. Gina patches Shushu up, and Nia mentions that Shushu's melons are all out, and Shushu notes that she lost. She apologizes for losing, and Koyuka tries to cheer her up, saying they can work on getting better later. Shushu heads off to change, and as she leaves, she starts crying cause she feels like a damn fool in front of Yuki. Yuki overhears her and goes to offer her a drink cause he's the dorm caretaker. Shushu would rather he erase her memory of that pathetic loss, but he ain't got that kind of power unfortunately. He understands losing can be tough, but he didn't think the fight was pathetic. Yuki actually wishes he could have seen more of her badass wrestling moves, and that makes Shushu feel a whole lot better. Shushu tells him to close his eyes and then surprises him with a kiss, her chest still out and all. Yuki's clueless about why she'd do that, so she explains she just wanted to follow up the shock of losing with an even bigger shock. While giving this weak excuse, Shushu thinks about how she can't tell him how she really feels until she gets him to like her even more. Outside, Nia tells Kuyuka that she ain't sensed no weird stuff nearby. But damn, things change quickly cause she's stunned to see some chick looking right at her. This mysterious babe can somehow talk to Nia and tell her to say what's up to the others. But hold up, she ain't all friendly because she drops a bomb. The real battle's about to go down now. Before Nia can even explain, a bunch of Shuki pops up from the ground. Gina says her barrier's unbreakable, but everyone's shocked when another mysterious dude shows up. His name's Ryron, and he's some kinda humanoid. Ryron unleashes a crazy strong attack and shocks everyone when it starts cracking Gina's barrier. The exhibition match gets called off right away, and Kuyuka tells Tenka to take the non-fighters back to the dorm. Ryron's all eager to wipe them out, so Kuyuka gets all the fighters ready for battle. She tells them to destroy all those hollows from Bleach, and starts by sending one of the big ones to the afterlife. Shushu and Yuki come back outside, and Shushu wastes no time jumping into the fight. She's feeling way better now, but Sahara steps in to protect her, and they decide to team up. Ryron figures out they ain't his target, and Himari ain't either. But he finds Himari so annoying, so he unleashes a powerful attack on her. Yachiho barely saves her in time, and the sisters realize Ryron's gonna be one dangerous opponent. They signal each other cause they got a plan, and Himari starts running. Ryron gives props to Yachiho for saving Himari, but Yachiho swears she's gonna make him pay for trying to hurt her sis. Himari finds Kuyuka and Yuki, and surprises them by asking if she can ride Yuki with her. Yuki ain't never had two people riding him before, but they all decide to give it a shot. Yuki kisses Himari's hand, and Kuyuka predicts that with two masters, Yuki's gonna take on a more powerful form. Yuki is bursting with power and undergoes a whole new transformation. Yuki's a whole different demon now, feeling that power surging through his body. It's time to show what his new form can do, and Yuki's damn sure he can pull off that move Aoba used on them. He channels his energy and unleashes a crazy powerful blast. The girls can't believe the power of having two masters, but they're confident they can whoop the whole swarm of Shuki now. Himari's worried about her sis, but Kuyuka reassures her that she'll be fine cause they got Tenka beside them. On the dorm tower, Nia tells Tenka there are two more of those humanoid dudes nearby. Then Tenka goes back to the battlefield, ain't letting the 7th Squadron outshine her. Gina's all complaining about not being able to see the fight, but it is what it is cause the dorms got the strongest barrier. It's like torture for her, but Nia hooks her up and lets her tap into her mind so she can peep the battlefield. The fight goes down with Kuyuka wrecking demons left and right, and Gina's cheering everyone on. We know regular weapons ain't gonna do jack against these Shuki. The only way to take them down is with the powers from the Peaches, and special weapons made to wield the Peaches' power. The only exception is Kuyuka because she trained her ass off on a sacred mountain, to perfect her own badass combat style that smashes those creatures. She gained the skills to beat Shuki through straight-up training, no peach powers needed. That's why she became a commander, and right now, she's at her peak. Meanwhile, Yachiho's using her time manipulation ability to dodge Ryron's attacks. Yachiho's stunned by the insane power these humanoids got, and she eventually falls victim to one of his attacks. Ryron points out that Yachiho can't do her time manipulation pose without her arm, but he doesn't know shit because Yachiho can pose no matter what the situation is. Yachiho rewinds time 5 seconds, to when she still had both arms and dodges the attack this time. She's still messed up though, and Ryron's getting ready to unleash a terrifying attack to finish her off. Shit gets really intense as Yachiho prepares to get killed, but all that tension breaks when Tenka shows up out of nowhere. And Ryron's stunned to see her appear out of thin air. She tells Yachiho she'll take over from here. Ryron ain't feeling how chill Tenka's being, and reminds her that his whole army's closing in on her. Tenka finds that shit hilarious. As the dust clears, she reveals she already took care of any Shuki trying to mess with their fight. Ryron's shocked to see his army all destroyed, and Tenka points out there should still be 2 officer-level humanoids somewhere. But she's leaving that for later cause right now, she's taking care of Ryron first. Ryron recognizes Tenka's power, but he's still confident and finally looking forward to a damn fun fight. The battle keeps on raging, and damn there's an endless army of Shuki. But Kuyuka steps up as the commander and takes charge. Shushu and Sahara are kicking some Shuki asses too, while Yachiho watches Tenka getting ready to throw down with Ryron. Ryron ain't too thrilled that he's only faced 2 opponents so far, which makes it clear he's targeting the commanders only. He declares he'll end this fight in the blink of an eye and unleashes a crazy lightning attack. That massive beam does some serious damage, and once again, he's disappointed at how damn easy it was to take down one of their leaders. But then, out of nowhere, Tenka sneaks up behind him and kicks him right in the head. This dude actually managed to dodge the attack and reveals that her efforts are useless. Even if she landed a hit, his skin's as tough as steel, and he wouldn't feel a damn thing. He declares he's invincible, but Tenka dodges his attacks with some portal move. Then she uses one of those portals to strike back, and Raven's shocked as hell to see that she actually messed up his arm. Gina is in awe of her leader's skills and points out how both commanders came up with a plan to wipe out the enemy army in a flash. Raren's had enough of this boring-ass fight and starts powering up, finally deciding to get serious. He sends his power into the sky and unleashes an attack he's damn sure she won't be able to dodge. Yuki's scared she's been taken out, but Koyuka knows better and tells him to just watch. Rairan triumphantly declares his victory, but he's in for a surprise cause Tenka's still alive, against all odds. She uses a portal to land a punch, and Raren's totally confused when she seems to teleport him with just one touch. Now he's helplessly falling through the air, and Gina celebrates her leader's godlike abilities. Tenka can manipulate the space around her, and it's called Aim no Motori. She uses her power to open another portal and makes Rairan straight up disappear. She's like, your defense ain't worth shit when I can tear through space itself. Yuki's in awe of how these two leaders wiped out the whole army, and Himari points out that all commanders are on a whole other level. And on top of that, Koyuka wants to be in charge of all the commanders, so her goal seems damn near impossible. But Yuki's doubts get crushed when Koyuka confidently declares that she'll become the supreme commander no matter what. Koyuka tells the other girls to handle any remaining Shuki, and Yuki realizes he can't just stand there admiring Koyuka's strength. He reminds himself that he came to Mado to be a hero, so he declares that he's joining the fight. After that, the crew chopped it up about how they managed to win the battle. The issue is, according to Nia's report, there were some other enemy generals lurking nearby. Our crew searched high and low, but they couldn't catch a single glimpse of these other generals. Nia apologizes for spotting them too late, but they figure these generals must have some kind of stealth mode going on. They tell Nia not to stress about it since her heads-up saved them from getting blindsided by the enemies. Tenka calls Yuki a little slave and tells him he straight up stole the show on the battlefield. Even Gina's on board now, realizing that boys can bring some serious talent to the table. She's become Yuki's #1 fan and even wants his autograph. Himari then approaches her sister and expresses gratitude for coming to her rescue. Yachiho plays it cool and explains that letting the enemy take down Himari would be a disgrace to their family. Yachiho keeps up the act, saying that was her only reason for saving her. She offers to train Himari up if she rolls back home with her, but Himari reminds her that the 7th Squadron is her true home. The two commanders agree to call it a draw, but they're kinda bummed cause they were looking forward to their one-on-one showdown. The two squadrons go their separate ways, but Tenka dips with a mysterious smile. Time to kick back and relax, so Yuki mentions he's gotta hit the shower and rest up after all that action. But before that, the ladies remember to give him his reward and start stripping down. Koyuka teasingly calls him a pervert and tells him to join them, so the three of them hit up the bath together. And as they're lathering him up, Himari peeps that they're basically bathing an obedient pup, so there's no need to be embarrassed about it. And then Koyuka cuddles up to his back, Melon all touching, and notices that the dude seems more tired than usual. He explains that being controlled by two masters at the same time drained a ton of his energy. Himari comments that this experience makes him stronger but advises him not to use his abilities lightly. Koyuka adds that thanks to this experience, they've learned to use their slave in a practical way, and they'll need to keep exploring his potential down the line. But for now, she tells Yuki to get some rest. Later that night, Nia sketches out what the hidden enemy generals look like. The drawing is dope as hell, and it helps them realize these generals ain't the same humanoid types they faced before. Yuki reflects on the opponent they're talking about and can't help but notice she bears a resemblance to his sister. He wonders if she's part of another crew or if there's some other reason she wasn't rolling with these enemies. Our dude finally catches some much-needed sleep, but we peep Tenka using her portals for more than just fighting. She pops up like a perv to creep on Yuki. The next day, Yuki, Koyuka, and Himari head to the 6th Squadron's dorm. Tenka welcomes them, saying the commander's got some important stuff to discuss. Koyuka tells Himari to get to know the other squadron members, and Tenka encourages her to explore thoroughly. As for our dude Yuki, he's confident in his role as the squad's caretaker. He knows his job is to help out however he can. It works out perfectly since some of Tenka's peeps are out right now, including their own caretaker. Yuki declares he's got their backs and swears to do his best. Our dude is stoked cause he gets to do what he loves, starting with some cleaning. Unfortunately, the place is already pretty clean, so there ain't much for him to do. Yuki's bummed cause he psyched himself up for nothing, but he looks out and finds a stubborn stain. He goes all out, analyzing it and finding the perfect cleaner to get the job done. Next on the list is laundry, but Yuki's gotta calm himself down cause damn, there's a whole lot of underwear to deal with.
He admits he ain't quite used to it yet. Back at home, Shushu wonders what Yuki's up to.
She decides to hold off on telling him her feelings until he's more into her. In the meantime, she's gonna work on improving herself, starting with some cleaning. Back at the other dorm, Yuki gets ready to deliver Yachiho her clean uniform.
He's low-key nervous about what she might say when she sees him.
Luckily, she ain't inside, so he decides to leave the uniform in her room. But damn, he regrets that choice when he opens the door and finds Yachiho's got pics of Himari plastered everywhere. Girl's got some serious sisterly love, but it's a bit too intense for our dude Yuki, so it's prompted him to hastily retreat. Yuki then stumbles upon Sahara knocked out in the living room, with her undies on full display. Out of nowhere, he tries to be a knight in shining armor and cover her up so she doesn't catch a cold. But before he can do anything, Sahara sleepwalks and pulls him close to her chest.
Yuki realizes he better dip before someone catches them and gets the wrong idea. But Sahara traps him between her legs and says he ain't going anywhere.
Yuki remembers Sahara's got the strength of a pro, making it damn near impossible for him to escape. After struggling like crazy, he just gives up. Finally, Sahara wakes up and apologizes for the unexpected encounter. Later on, they spot a super still Himari, and they're wondering what's up with her. She explains she's just waiting to talk to her sister. Meanwhile, Yachiho's busy getting ripped by lifting some heavy weights. Himari's amazed and wonders if she does this all the time. Turns out she does, and Sahara spills that Yachiho's been training like a beast way before the exhibition match was even a thing. Himari's totally blown away by how her sister is pushing herself even harder than ever before, and Sahara's wondering if Himari really looks up to her big sis. Himari admits that her sister's personality might suck, but she can't deny that Yachiho's killing it in academics and athletics. Himari's always thought she could learn a thing or two from her big sis. Sahara shares her belief in the theory that a person's peach ability is influenced by their knowledge in nature. In Himari's case, her desire to learn from Yachiho may have contributed to her ability to learn and utilize others' powers. Yachiho's time-controlling ability, Sahara suggests, could stem from her strong desire to spend time with her younger sister.
It makes so much sense, even if Himari doesn't want to admit it. Sahara encourages Himari to have more chats with her sister. Yuki's on board with that idea, so Himari goes to see Yachiho. Yachiho's still keeping up her tough act, but it's obvious they're getting along better than before.
Sahara suggests that showing Himari Yachiho's room could be the fastest way to mend their relationship, but Yuki thinks it's better to keep that room a secret. Nearby, Koyuka's saying they should go on the hunt for those humanoid creatures. They've been quiet lately, so Koyuka figures they should start the investigation near the crater where they first showed up.
Koyuka mentions that Tenka took out one of the confirmed humanoids, but Tenka ain't so sure about that.
Meanwhile, we find out that Raren's still kicking. Dude's made a full recovery, and his humanoid buddies are pointing out how he was inches away from biting the dust.
Now, let's rewind a bit and see what went down right before Rairan got sucked into that portal. Turns out, some little girl saved his sorry ass. Rairan, lost in his delusions, thinks he could have kept fighting, but the girl tells him straight up that the battle was lost when he let them wreck his whole army. This girl's name is Shikoku, and she takes a moment to review what went down. First, she went head-to-head with the 3rd Squadron to check out their skills. Piece of cake for her, but the leader of the 3rd Squadron was absent. That's why their recent attack aimed to see what a commander could do. Those commanders blew her away. Rairan wanted to launch a full-on attack on the Demon Defense Force, but those commanders showed they couldn't handle it. Rairan still thinks they can win, but the hot black-ass girl agrees with Shikoku. So, they're going with Shikoku's plan. It's simple, they'll strike when they've gathered all 8 of their people and stick to the shadows until then. Rairan hates being called people, but Shikoku can't help but be fascinated by humans. They're hella entertaining to her, and way more complex than she ever imagined. Koyuka is straight up shocked when she hears that Tenka wants Yuki. She explains that she's just looking for some excitement in her boring personal life. That's why she wants a companion who can help her unwind after a long day of work. Koyuka definitely ain't feeling it, but Tenka tries to sweeten the deal by offering to endorse her in the next Supreme Commander election, if she hands over Yuki. Now, that's a major offer, but Koyuka still turns it down. She declares that she'll become Supreme Commander on her own, without using her subordinates as leverage. The meeting is over, but Tenka wants to know if she can at least date Yuki in her free time. Later on, Koyuka spills the beans to Yuki. He's already busy taking care of the 7th Squadron, but Koyuka admits that she can't control what he does in his own time. Yuki realizes that he doesn't actually have much free time when he thinks about all his responsibilities. They make it back to their dorm, and the ladies head to the bathroom to soak in a hot bath. And Yuki heads to his bedroom and collapses on his bed cause he's beyond exhausted. He's happy that a hottie like Tenka wants him,
but he ain't trying to be nobody's pet cause his goal is to become a hero. Then out of nowhere, a portal opens up in his room, and Tenka walks through it. Yuki shouts in surprise, but Tenka tells him to keep it down. She confesses that she snuck out of her base just to pay him a private visit. Yuki is caught off guard by this, and she wonders if Koyuka didn't spill the beans about her crush on him. She straight up tells him that she wants him to be her boyfriend. Yuki's mind is blown. Then she's like, I don't want you as a pet, I want a normal relationship with you. She admits that she called him a pet in front of Koyuka cause she thought he was adorable. She's drawn to his courage cause he's a slave devoted to his master. Plus, she's intrigued by his housekeeping skills, and she sees him as a pet cause he's still young. She tells him that if he grows up and becomes strong, she might spoil him with all sorts of gifts that he will never imagine. Yuki can't believe his ears, and he feels like he's in heaven. Tenka gently plants a kiss on his lips, making her heart race. She's never felt this way before and decides to take it to the next level with Yuki. She had hoped to do things the right way, but she couldn't resist Yuki's charm any longer. Things start getting wild, and they both start losing pieces of clothing. She then wonders if Yuki's shirt means something special to him, and he tells her it's just a cheap old t-shirt he don't care about. She straight up teleports his shirt away, and Yuki gets all embarrassed. He thinks she's misusing her powers and tries to bounce, but she pins him down from the back. She asks him to at least tell her if he'll go out with her. She gives him 3 options. First is to say yes, second is to take some time to think it over, and third is to straight up say no. Yuki desperately goes for option 2, and Tenka can see her approach was too sudden. She's glad he didn't straight up reject her, and she feels like she needs to do something wild to make sure he doesn't slip away. But out of nowhere, Shushu busts in the door and catches them in this weird act. They immediately call a squad meeting to deal with the situation. Koyuka scolds Tenka for jumping on Yuki. She wonders why she got so aggressive and if she's been a predator before. Tenka tells her it's cause Yuki is just too damn cute and she couldn't resist. Even though Koyuka said she wouldn't meddle in Yuki's personal life, Tenka sneaking into their dorm at night is an abuse of her powers, and that ain't right. But Koyuka ends the meeting and tells Tenka to bounce back to her dorm. Tenka says goodbye to Yuki before she leaves, but Himi and Shushu are hella mad at her. Yuki is dead tired, but Koyuka tells him not to be late for practice the next morning. The next morning, Koyuka spills that they gotta fight the humanoid monsters again. So, in preparation, she wants to practice lending out her slave power. This means the others can ride Yuki in his slave form. It's clear that Yuki's abilities change depending on who's riding him. The more transformations he can do, the more weapons they'll have. Nia goes first, so she hops on his back and grabs hold of his chains, and gives them a good tug, and Yuki starts transforming. He turns into a whole new form, but he can't really describe it right now. Yuki checks if it's cool to test it out, and Nia gets ready by holding on tight. Yuki throws some shadow punches and instantly realizes he ain't feeling as strong as before, and Himari notices he's also slower than when she rode him. But his senses feel sharper than ever, his eyesight and hearing are on another level. Yuki tries focusing his energy into his eyes and damn, he's got X-ray vision. He apologizes for seeing things he ain't supposed to, so they all catch on and get embarrassed, but Shushu is happy he can see all she's got to offer. Koyuka is amazed by his power and realizes they can use it to find hidden Shuki. But it comes with a big cost, unlike when Himari borrows Yuki with her learning ability. Directly lending him out takes a lot of strength. Yuki goes back to his regular form, and Nia shows her appreciation by giving him a smooch on the cheek. She apologizes for being so forward, but this makes Koyuka realize something: the one who should give the reward is the person borrowing the ability, not the one lending it. Koyuka apologizes to Nia because she assumed she would be the one responsible for rewarding Yuki when borrowing her ability. Shushu gets a naughty idea, and eagerly announces that it's her turn to transform Yuki. Koyuka wants Shushu to be sure about her decision because she might have to use it in a future battle. If things get really intense, then her reward might end up being way more extreme than what Nia got. Shushu is all about that idea, but she hides it by saying that defeating Shuki is their top priority. Shushu jumps on Yuki's back and grabs his chains. Yuki transforms again, and he can instantly tell that this transformation is way stronger than the previous ones. However, he's also way bulkier and slower. Koyuka agrees that he's definitely powerful, but she doesn't think it's worth borrowing her ability for such a small upgrade. Shushu doesn't want Koyuka to jump to conclusions and suggests that if she goes into giant mode, Yuki might grow with her. Shushu gives it a shot, but the poor boy ends up crushed by Shushu's dirty desires. Shushu is even more disappointed when her reward turns out to be just bandaging him up. That transformation was pretty underwhelming, so Koyuka decides they won't be using it in battle anytime soon. Yuki is concerned about Koyuka using too much power, but she says she'll just have to get used to it. Yuki's transformation with Nia's power seems like it could be useful, so they'll focus on developing that more. Nia gets ready for school, and Yuki wonders why she joined the Demon Defense Force. Nia is all set for school, so Yuki offers to walk her there. Koyuka gives the green light because Nia is his superior, and she wants him to get to know her better. The two of them go through a portal, and Nia is surprised to hear that Yuki wants to know her reason for joining. Balancing school and being in the Demon Defense Force is a big responsibility, but Nia thinks it's worth it. She reveals that it's the best chance she has to find her parents. Nia explains that one day her parents just vanished, and everything pointed to a Mato mishap. There are rumors of people getting phone calls or catching glimpses of those who disappeared during Mato's mishaps. Yuki has heard about these rumors and now understands that she joined the force in the hopes of finding her parents. Nia believes that her feelings transformed into her ability after eating a peach since it helps her locate things. Yuki assures her that her parents are out there somewhere, just like his sister is. Back in Mato, Tenka passes on a message from the Supreme Commander. Basically, even if they find that humanoid Shuki, they're not supposed to engage with them unless the Supreme Commander gives the green light. It's pretty obvious that the Commander wants to have a chat with them and see how smart they are. If things go well, they might be able to solve the Shuki problem and avoid any Mato screw-ups. Koyuka ain't feeling the whole idea and points out that these humanoids are the type to throw hands first and ask questions later. She doubts that they just want to have a friendly conversation and thinks the Commander is straight up naive. Tenka can see that it's probably gonna end up in a battle anyway, and she promises that her squadron will have Koyuka's back no matter what. They head back home, and Yuki is shocked to see Tenka show up. Tenka teases him a bit for being all nervous, and Nia gets a feeling that she should look away, but then an alarm goes off. Himari and Shushu are out on patrol, and they report that a bunch of gateways have popped up. Koyuka tells Yuki that they gotta help the girls, and Tenka offers to take them there. Tenka's power teleports them right away, but Koyuka tells her to step back cause this is their territory. She has Yuki transform, but he can tell she's in a bad mood. Koyuka takes back what she said about not meddling in his personal life, and straight up forbids him from fawning over another squad's commander. Yuki is shocked, and she claims that he's her slave, no one else. The two dive into battle, and Koyuka starts busting out a move she's never used before. Shushu watches in awe, but then Himari gets attacked. Shushu barely manages to save her, but they see a new kind of Shuki show up. Yuki goes on the attack, but that thing heals up right away, so they gotta try something stronger. They hit it with the Mighty Blade Cross move, and it slices that new Shuki in half. Meanwhile, Shikoku is watching nearby, and she's disappointed that her little experiment failed. She's just messing around with them and notices that humans also like mixing and modding stuff. The black hot girl can't figure out what's going on in Shikoku's head, but Shikoku wonders what she should try next. The battle is done, and Yuki gives props to Koyuka for getting him all hyped up. Tenka heads back home and declares that her life won't be boring anymore now that Yuki is part of it. But here's where this video ends. If you want to see the rest of this series, let me know in the comments down below. And remember to like and subscribe to the channel to support and encourage me to continue. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to let the world know about our love for anime.